Okay, so you're there. You see, you're live on YouTube.
Yep.
You'll start with
I don't know why we don't hear the commercial.
we should be hearing the commercials.
Yeah, I don't hear the commercial right now.
It's got to be something on there that's not letting us
No,
hear.
it's a problem that we have at the last week because when we open the Zara, they change. I don't know. Here they change something. The exit they change it, but just with the music is that problem.
Okay, just with the music.
Just with the music.
Well,
yeah.
then let's just start the show without the music. Then,
You want.
all right.
Go ahead. ended up going somewhere else. And when you have an opportunity to meet with that potential client, how will you convey that you are the person that they need?
Mhm.
And that's how we missed most
Yep.
of the opportunities.
What do you think, Robert?
Well, I think about dining lately,
Yeah.
especially in our area. What is there? Is there a differentiator between any of the restaurants? I have not yet found great service.
Yes.
Whoever's going to show me finally great service, they got my business every day, and that's what I don't know. In society, I guess we've come to just take everything for granted and said, "Hey, this is the way life is, and it's not going to change."
You know what? I think
Agreed.
I agree with you, but I would call it we accept mediocrity. We accept
We do.
it's like
Absolutely, I
if
agree
they
with you.
haven't thrown the food on me, if I don't find hair in it or bugs in it, I guess that's okay. And I'm like, really?
Well, you know what? I'd even go with the bugs I'm going. When we do live in Florida, there's a lot of insects. Oh, that's
No,
great.
no, no. But there's been places right here in South Florida, in this town, and local towns nearby. We hear in the news that they've closed down. I remember hearing somebody say, "Oh, that was my favorite restaurant." And you sit there going, "You didn't know they had all those problems in the back office, in the back kitchen." So again, we keep going to places like you said for fear of going somewhere and being disappointed.
Yep.
Businesses, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say businesses, I think, fear taking on a new strategy or implementing a new plan because does the cost, preparation, everything outweigh the results? And again, if you don't jump on that bandwagon, your business will be, quote, out of business
Yep.
pretty quickly.
And that happens specifically with the small businesses,
Yeah.
right? We have this great idea that they want to do something different,
Hmm.
but at the end, they settle. It's like you're trying to want to look good in front of the mirror. I want to lose weight, but I don't want to go on a diet, right? Or you decided to join the gym, and automatically you think that a six pack is going to come with it.
It does. Six pack of beer.
That's by the bar next to you. Hey, we're going to stop on that note for right now. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be coming back in just a moment.
Juan, do you have anything for us? All right, go ahead. Put the commercial on. We went to break. We have a new staff here today producing because our illustrious producer, Marcella, broke her leg and she's home. We miss you, Marcella. Hope you feel better. I just want to remind our listeners, if they're still listening here and not to the commercial, is that this is Unilatina International College, and the radio show is being produced by the radio production crew, which are our students here at the college, and this is a new crew that we have, and they're coming up with a couple of difficulties. And if you don't hear the commercial, you're hearing me.
We are don't hear you because the microphone.
Yeah, your
right
microphone's
now
off.
Yeah. With the same program we have
There it is.
this.
I can hear now. Turn it up a little.
Yeah, but it's no your.
Oh, no, it's
That's
not
all right.
us.
So what happened with your playlist? It's your playlist that I have.
Okay.
the problem.
Okay, this is Christmas music, so we could take that off. All right, let us just go back to the show then. We'll just do a live commercial.
Stop here. Dun, dun, okay. Here, and that four.
And we are back with the Entrepreneur Hour. We are talking about a lot of things, but mainly we're here with Edwin, talking about his business and also talking about businesses being afraid and individuals being afraid to move into that exceptionalism. So I'll pass it back over to you guys. I know you have a question next, Stephanie. You always do.
You know me, I'm the question lady. So dream big. We hear dream big. We hear build it and they will come. All these different movies that have these great, you complete me. All these things that are for one reason or another they stick to you and become part of the genre and the jargon of different parts of our life. And I really think it's true that people have, have a vision, dream it, and then, and then make it happen. Jobs, Gates, all these people said they had these dreams. But it doesn't just dream it and they come up. There's a place between a dream, a vision, and then setting a goal. So talk to me how you help businesses. This is my vision, my dream. Maybe they're one and the same. And how do we set them to become goals? And then are there steps to that?
Okay, absolutely. And there is a difference.
Okay.
So a vision is focused on the future and is focused on
Uni Latina International College offers an English as a second language program for international students. UIC's high qualified ESL teachers help students develop and master.
because to the point that level of success is going to be based on your definition of success. It might be different from mine. And goals are just milestones. There's some tangible things you want to achieve.
Really? I never saw a goal as a milestone. For me, I lose those 20 pounds. I'm there, man. I'm up the top of the mountain. I gain it all back.
That's a mile.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, maybe you're trying to say I just need to lose it the last day I'm alive, and then I end on a good note.
But I'll tell you, that's a very good segue because that's what most of us, at one point or another, sees the destination and the goal.
Yeah,
We work really hard to get to that point,
yeah.
and we
And then
fail to enjoy the process that we're in it because ultimately that's what's building some routines that become disciplines to keep us going in the right direction where you don't have to worry about I only have one more pound left to get to my goal because now it's become a part of who you become. It's a big difference.
So let's take this away from the pounds as everybody's looking at me. You don't know I'm gained a few pounds. All right, let's go back to the business side. So you're telling me that when somebody sets a goal, now I know you help people with their goals too, with the mastermind group, with the chamber. But tell me, guys, how do I look at my goal and don't try to just eat the whole elephant? Because the goal is, to obtain. I know it's got to be one bite at a time, but how do you divide your bites? How do you see those bites?
Go ahead.
So the way I see it is once you have your why and your destination, you have your goal in mind.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're going to make sure that that goal and the steps you're going to take to get to that goal are in line with your vision. They got to be supporting what you want ultimately,
Okay,
right?
so every step needs to take me closer to that.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So instead of going back to the weight issue because it's the easiest one out there, unfortunately. So you could look at I want to be healthy instead of being I need to lose 20 pounds. And so really the goal is still being losing 20 pounds, but what you really want is that destination of life
Mm-hmm.
to be healthy. And that's what we're really focusing on in there. So you may do it a little. So for some people in that aspect, be my goal is to lose 20 pounds. Okay, how am I going to do that? And maybe today I'm going to stop drinking soda, or I'm going to cut back on the candy. I'm going to make healthier choices. Maybe I stop going to the fast food restaurants now and actually have a sit down meal for all my meals.
Some of those places would close.
Well, I know, Stephanie. I'm not advising that you do that because I do want the economy to still flourish.
I mean, Weston would be a problem. Panera would literally close its doors. Okay.
What Robert just mentioned, and he did it so eloquently, those are really objectives
Mhm.
because those are measurable. And
Yeah.
those objectives help you achieve the goal.
Yep.
And the goal will help you get to the final destination that helps
Definitely.
being healthy, a healthy life.
Mm-hmm.
So it is intertwined. It is connected. The problem is sometimes we see as a goal just as a matter of convenience. It's easier.
So a goal becomes just something you can just say, I did it. I'm done. Yeah.
Absolutely. And then what happens?
Um, you get back to your old habits and
Yes,
you gain 40
absolutely.
pounds. I
Yes.
lost those 20 pounds.
Yeah.
I lost your, now I'm up 20 more
Yes.
than I started with.
Now apply that to the business.
Yes, let's apply it to business.
No, we talked about some business that are no longer with us,
Yes.
right? And yet, we have some new, very innovative businesses. Amazon.
Mhm.
Look what they have been able to do.
Right.
We just talked about payments. And I know what they're attributing the fact that they might be going under or they're going under, but they fail to realize that in order to remain competitive,
Mhm.
they need to be innovative. They need to be creative. And the creativity did not seem to have supported what they want to do. So we question, did they really have a destination or were the goals really supporting where they were going? I bet you say that that was not the case because
Yeah.
they're no longer with us.
So we had something similar happen with Office Depot, Staples. I think those two companies, correct? They basically one bought the other, or they came together. Staples had a huge online presence where I understand Office Depot had all these brick and mortars. They still went almost 50% closed across the nation, brought people who worked at the Staples stores into the Office Depot, took the best of the best, got rid of the rest. Probably a good strategy. But they also have increased their online presence for small businesses who want, and also they created, we have somebody in the chamber that's also working with Office Depot right now, or Staples, however they go. There's certain divisions that are considered Staples, and but they go door knocking to small businesses now because they know that your time is valuable. So they found a niche, and now they're using that to create, I think, a value for customers that they did not offer before. If you wanted something, you either went online or you went to a store.
Well, and that's what we see with many of these businesses. They close. They don't think about the next thing. You look at BlackBerry.
Yeah.
You barely see anybody with a BlackBerry. But when BlackBerry started
I know.
and was taking over, they said, we are going to always be the phone of choice. And what happened? They started losing market share, and they didn't know how to get themselves back. And that how many they still are around, but it's a very small niche anymore. And each it's funny as you go through these eras, you start seeing things like taxi cabs, where a taxi cab was the place to go. Now it's Uber.
Yes.
Now it's we used to always, if we wanted to eat, we had to go to a restaurant. We didn't have a choice. Now you've got all these delivery companies. Even fast food.
Yes.
If you can't get off your butt and go to a fast food restaurant and then have it Uber to you,
Yes.
you got an issue.
That's a problem.
That's a problem.
Well, and here's the problem with merchant services. We're constantly being attacked by the next best thing. Square and PayPal, and they're trying to take it away. So really, you don't need us anymore. But we found ways. For example, Uber Eats. Well, now we can come up with a mobile app
Absolutely.
that the restaurant owns and doesn't pay 30% of the ticket price to Uber and gets paid 3 weeks later. So again, if I'm going to stay relevant and I'm going to stay active in a community with my business, I have to find, again, you talk about this online, your competition is doing, and do it better. Or find something they're not doing and
Absolutely.
offering it, a
And-
differentiator.
And it's the same way with you as an individual, because this is what's happening in our world today. Our world is changing so fast. Many of us believe, oh, we'll be able to do this today and not planning for tomorrow. And if you look at restaurants right now. You go to any McDonald's right now, and inside you walk in, they have a self-ordering
Yep.
aspect. You're paying with
Absolutely.
credit card. I went to Sam's Club of all places, who checks out everything, and now they just went self-service there. And it was so funny when I was at Sam's Club. They go, "Oh yeah, it's so much easier for everybody to do their own." And I'm like, going, "Do you guys understand that every time you open up another register area,
One of
that
you is
means
losing a job.
one of you are going to be unemployed soon?" And that's how it works. And instead, all of us sit around and go, "Oh well, we went to college, we have our degree, or we got our certification." And the thing is, never, you need to be looking at what's the next thing coming down and being prepared for it. Because I see so many people that have bachelor's degree and master's degrees even, who are unemployed because they don't have the skills to make it the next way.
And what do these unemployed people figure? Or people like me who worked, 40 years for corporate America and ended up being let go because they didn't want to, my salary. And I was in a corner sucking my thumb for about 18 months until the girls reached out and said, "Come work with us," and it was the best thing that ever happened. But you know what happens to us? These older people that are either let go or they just are not employable. They open their own business. And I think this is the problem. You know, you went to get a degree how to do it. You ought to get some kind of education on how.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Someone like yourself is the perfect person to kind of give the education, be part of the chamber, learn how to do things, network, market,
And
etc.
do the work ahead of time.
Oh yeah.
And think about it ahead of time.
And don't
because-
spend all that money.
because how many times do you know? I hate to say this. I love doing ribbon cuttings. Henry loves them even more than I do. But how many of those businesses within 2 years are shutting their doors?
I know. It's so
And I'm
sad.
like going, I cannot believe that you guys didn't plan the market. You didn't think about your business
Uh-huh.
fully before you went into it, knowing that, hey, tomorrow there might be some phone business where it's kind of changing over where it was cheaper. Well, it's still cheaper sometimes now to buy a brand new phone than have your phone repaired.
Right.
And you have all these little repair shops all over who, when the
Yeah.
cell phones start coming out, going, hey, I can fix the glass, I can do all this. And now they're like going, oh, well, geez, you're just trading it in for the next highest level. We didn't plan on that. What do we do to diversify this? How do we fix this? And how do we get things moving? It's difficult.
So I have a little plug here. You know, I've broken 2 screens on my phone. I'm just quite, boom. And my husband, my babies, my grandkids, the love of my life. I have all these videos and songs and games on here for them. And honestly, when they were doing this, they were going to cut their little fingers because that's how bad the glass was. So I went to a place that I met through the chamber,
Mm-hmm.
and they have liquid glass now,
Mm-hmm.
and they pour it on there. And I'm like, I mean, I could probably run this over with a car.
Let's try.
No. But I could run this over by a car, and they said, and it's amazing. It feels great. I've never had a problem with it since it happened. But they found something that was different and unique. They shared it. So
But this is what we're talking about, right?
So-
right, this is exactly. And my next question to you was going to be exactly about that. You know, I've been blessed to hear you speak many times, and I know that you are a disciple of John Maxwell.
I am.
And you've coached John Maxwell. He believes in intentional living. I love that. It's to make that decision today that you're actually going to do it. You're not going to think about it. It's going to be that 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's going to
And
happen.
that's what I'm going to do right now. We're going to keep that thought. And
you're
we're going to
right.
go right now with a break.
Do we have commercials? One.
Juan, gotta go.
Oh, he's got to go.
We'll be back in a couple minutes. Well,
No. Yeah.
Oh, he got it.
yeah.
All right. All right, Juan. We're going to give you a B- on this one.
I'm like, oh no, she's going into another question. I gotta stop.
Yeah, well, usually you go like this, Marcel.
He
So-
did though. He was trying to get you.
Yeah. About 30 seconds, and we'll be back on.
You were in a roll. Right? He
Well-
was trying to get your attention.
I wanted to build up your Maxwell and the
Yeah,
intentional
that's
living,
cool.
and then so you start right now. We'll just say, talk to us about intentional living.
Now it's just one. No?
Yeah.
20 seconds.
All right. See, now you're getting good, Juan.
Oh no, it's crazy. I love it, but it's crazy. And when you do the first time and you don't know and anybody teach you, yeah,
It's all right. Oh, yeah, there's 2 together.
And we are back. I hope you understood one of those commercials. We wanted to catch up with everything we missed earlier and jammed them all in there for you. We're here with the Entrepreneurial Hour. This is Robert Gold with Stephanie Kate. Stephanie had a question that she had to ask and stuff just before we took the break, and I cut her off because I had to do something intentional. So, Stephanie, I'll hand it back over to you.
Edwin, talk to us about intentional living, and especially when it relates to business.
Yes, and I think you mentioned it though. It is actually intentional thinking. That's really what it boils down to. And it is about making a conscious decision and to be present in the moment. And most of us are not. And the problem is that even with business owners, we believe that life is predestined. We don't want to take control of it. And the fact of the matter is that we control probably the biggest freedom that we have is the freedom to choose. And if we choose to act on what we claim is important to us, then there's endless possibilities of getting to what we really want. And Robert just mentioned this, and you alluded it too. We over exaggerated yesterday. You know, and one thing that comes to mind, and I use this in one of my presentations, you folks remember that show, Married with Children?
Yes.
Yes. Oh yeah.
I model my life after
I
that.
was gonna say. I think that's.
Being a shoe salesman, I just decided being a shoe salesman. But the rest of it is me precisely.
So think about it, right? So Al Bundy, he was in his 50s, working in the shoe store as a shoe salesman with a family that did not respect him, but the one thing he had, the one thing that he was living through every day was the fact that he was an Old County quarterback for, I don't know, for
Polk High.
Polk High.
Polk High.
Polk High.
I didn't know it that well.
Told you I live it.
Yeah. And how can you do the same? Because it's easier to live in the past and relive the glory days than it would be for them to invest the same type of time building themselves back up.
Well, and I'll ask you this, Edwin. This is the other thing I see in today's day and age. We're always thinking about tomorrow.
Yes.
We're not even enjoying what today. And this is what I love about John Maxwell when he talks about his stories with people that he's met and stuff. He takes the time to stop everything that he's doing and says, "This is intentional. I'm spending my time with this person I'm interviewing, and I'm not worrying about my phone. All I have is my pad of paper and my questions, and I'm going to dig deep into this person and get to know them." And I think a lot of times when we go, at least I know during my day, I'm sitting here on the radio right now, and in my mind, I've already got 5 things that I need to do when I walk out of here. Where I really, if I was doing intentional living, I'd be sitting here going, "Hey, everything's about right now, right here," and I'm not thinking about that. Because the thing is, at the end of the day, as we grow old, we have our memories. But if you don't make them worthwhile now, they'll never come back to you later. And you'll only remember those big things.
Yes.
The big highs and the big lows, not the just
Absolutely.
enjoying the time with people.
I think as a business owner, as a mom, if I'm sitting there with my phone as my child's telling me the day and I'm doing this, it's giving my child a clear opinion that their whatever's going on that they're talking about really isn't important to me. I think as a business owner, if you're in front of your client and you haven't muted your phone or left it in the car or in your briefcase where it's not going zzz, I think you're telling your client that, I run a business. Well, yes, you're so important. You're very important. But you know what? This is our time together. And I think people lose sight of that with their employees, with their families. I own a business. And man, everything's got to ring at the same time, and I got to be all to everyone. And you can't do that with intentional living, can you?
And Robert just mentioned something, right? We focus on tomorrow. We really overestimate tomorrow because guess what? You can't depend. It's not guaranteed. The only thing that is guaranteed now is right now. And yet we say, well, I'm planning for the future. I'm working really hard because I want to have a future. And if you really want to have a better future, it starts with today.
I heard somebody say one time, plan for the future based on the past, live in the now.
Right here.
Right. Live in the now.
And these
But you
things,
live in
these-
the now. That's
These
what it was.
phones and everything.
The Entrepreneurial Hour is a weekly radio talk show hosted by Stephanie Cates and Robert Gultz that includes local South Florida business owners, subject matter experts, and industry leaders that recognize the need to share their knowledge with other businesses to help them start and grow their business. Join us Tuesday mornings, 10:30 to 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, online at Radio Unilatina USA. Follow us on social media at
You don't have a choice. Thank you very much. But it's so funny because, ago, we didn't have this technology. We still survived, we still grew,
Absolutely.
and we still built relationships. And people go, I get it all the time. You don't pick up your phone. You don't check your messages. You know what? Sometimes I do check my messages. Sometimes I don't.
And sometimes I
I
just ignore
choose.
you, Stephanie.
And sometimes
Yeah.
I just ignore it. Stephanie, when you text me, I'm not going, oh, it's Stephanie again.
3 times.
How are you doing today, Edwin?
You know, there's something. Say something very interesting, and it's applicable to all of us, specifically from in the business world. You said basically that you were a prisoner of the phone, right?
Yeah.
And you're making that choice.
I know.
It's not the phone.
I know. No, it is.
No,
It
right?
is. It is.
But
Oh, okay.
but just like that, imagine how many business owners. I mean, I get clients that come to me and say, you know, I'm everything else is working out for me, except I can't seem to get clients, right? And I said, okay. So how important is for you and for your business to create clients? It's since scale 1 to 10.
Yeah,
Says
it's like
11.
10. Yeah. It's like 10.
So we're there. You're committed. Says, show me your calendar. There is no calls. There is no one-on-one. There is nothing. So don't tell me that you are committed. You're not doing the thing that you claim is important to you.
That
But
would have been
you have time to be in Facebook. You have time to send emails. You have time to watch TV.
but there are some people out there that have told me that Facebook is the way they sell, and I was like, I really don't believe that
You
is.
know what? I do a lot of my business, my personal business through Facebook. But all I do through Facebook is I offer a persona of myself that people will want to purchase.
Okay.
And then the selling point comes when that phone call comes in and building that relationship.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And that's, they say they get business. They do. They get leads in from that. But you can't, a lead is a lead. To close it, you have to have that personal relationship.
Yes.
So I do the marketing for our company. We have a blog, and it's a thoughtful blog. If you were looking at merchant services and wanted to know something, you'd read it. We share. It's not about rah rah. It's about things that are important. How do you
Meaningful, relevant.
do things? Why? What is the batch? What does this mean? So I went through that because we always consider ourselves educators. So again, that's one of the goals of our company that our clients believe we educate. And so from there, I attach it to Facebook, and then I don't get a lot of people that like it or look at it. But Yami and Claudia, my twins, they go to a gala and they're all dressed up. They got 490 likes.
What was your
I
secret?
was like, damn, how come I can't get one like on this really thoughtful essay I put together?
Think like this, though. If you're looking for a brain surgeon, you go to Facebook, you find it.
Nope.
Right? You might go to a referral.
If it's a brain surgery for somebody else.
Well, I'd go to a Holiday Inn
You
Express
recommend it, right?
myself.
That's what it is. Robert said, you might get leads. But those are not business.
Yeah.
Right? In your case, even if people are not liking your page, it doesn't mean that they're not looking at it.
Right.
It doesn't mean that down the road, that person might come back to you, your business, or they might mention it to somebody else because of the intention is not trying to sell, but trying to educate. It's different.
And I think that those are supporting things. I think a businesses lose this sight. They think that if they have a website, and of course you have to keep it up, has to be relevant, has to stay up in the top 4 or 5 to even get a look at.
Agree?
So SEO is important. Then you have Facebook, where if you can engage your clients to like you and Angie's List or Craig's List, blah blah blah. There's a lot of things we can do. It becomes overwhelming to get that done. I don't think there's anything better than going to a networking event like we did at the Westin Breakfast this morning, or being in a leads group where you've got 40 people there that know you, like you, and will refer you. I see more businesses, Kurt Assessor, for example, he says that his business has doubled since he joined that one group. He's been part of a chamber. I still believe that those are the grassroots that a small business, how do you see those kinds of things for yourself?
You said it. There's supportive mechanism. Right? But there's 8 billion people in the world. Don't tell me that you cannot seem to connect with people that eventually could become your clients. And it goes back to the fear. Think about the last time you were at Starbucks. And you ever heard someone talking about a potential problem they had in their business that you had a solution for? How many people do you think would feel comfortable turning around and say, "Hey, I overhear what you said. I might be able to help you."
Well, I would do that, but
Exactly, exactly. And
I
that,
have fear.
that's the difference. One thing that we forget is when you send you put you send an email. It's not personal,
No, it's not.
right? And it's easy to me to do it. It doesn't take anything. I don't have to face nobody.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, we've done blasts, and I get one or two people. Hey, I've met you before. Really?
Unless
Can I account for business? No, not really.
Yeah, unless people are shot. Those are shot for me. Social media and emails are for those who are shopping.
Yes.
Shopping around, looking for things, looking for the best deal of the day. Outside of that, it's about truly building relationships. You know what? We're going to take the last break right now, and we'll be right back in just a few moments with the Entrepreneurial Hour.
What I want to do is kind of move into leadership,
Okay.
innovation. I was reading your blog where you talked
fine.
about, those kinds of things. So
Ask away.
Let's
Are you-
try. Let's try one.
Oh, we have a commercial or no?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's going on right now.
You want the other commercial or
One more. Go ahead.
more?
Do one more.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Five, four, three, two, one.
And we are back. You're here with the Entrepreneur Hour with Stephanie Cates and Robert Gold. We're talking about intentional living. We're talking about coaching. We're talking about all kinds of stuff. And I think we're about to go into leadership.
And I know that you do a lot with leadership. I'm part of the South Broward Leadership Group. You
She's
should have seen
working
his
on it.
face. Oh, go to YouTube. You'll see his face. It just droops. And yes, I'm the Mikey of most groups. Yeah, Mikey will do it. Mikey, yes.
If I can get Stephanie there, I can get anyone there.
That's a badge of honor.
Well, yeah, I actually do believe that. My grandmother said you could be president of the United States with a buzz about stuff. I think she just said I could torture people on the way up or something with questions. All right, so leadership is huge, and it's not somebody. There are some people they call born leaders. I could be considered a born leader. Robert could, you could. Maybe because we were firstborn, maybe because we were given responsibility at an early age, maybe we're type A person. There's all kinds of excuses. I believe a good leader has to have education, has to know, has to listen. Talk to me about how you develop leaders, and then how does that disseminate within the business hierarchy?
Okay. So I want to bring back a comment that John Mack made when somebody asked that question that you asked. Are leaders born? And John says, yeah, I've never found a leader that was born then. So yeah, they're born. Absolutely. Lucky for us. But the fact of the matter is that leadership skills can be developed, and they should be developed. And one thing that I see consistently when I get hired by organizations that might be struggling with teamwork, communication, productivity, effectiveness, and they're all in to need to develop their teams, but they don't want to be part of it.
Oh, so they want you to get them.
So to your question,
Yeah, I always take my husband to the shrink so that she can fix him.
Yep.
I want him fixed.
Yeah,
What do you
because,
mean I gotta get fixed?
because to us,
They're
The problem is somewhere
Yeah.
else.
Yeah.
And that should be your first signal that there is something wrong in the top down. You mentioned there cannot be an effective leadership development without first looking to your first your own self leadership. And that's what it really boils down to. And self leadership is not this complex, but it's about me managing myself and holding myself accountable to the things that I want my people to be accountable to. So if I believe that they need some leadership development, I need to be the role model. And I need to be the sample.
If it's going to happen, it's got to start with me.
Just start.
It's absolutely fundamental. It has got to be from the top down because if it's not, how is the person on top, the one that is responsible for certain all the standards, how is that person going to follow up or validate or course correct it? It's not going to happen.
So you're talking about leadership from the top down. What you're talking about is someone being able to lead a group of people on a certain journey, goal, business plan, whatever it is. Talk to me about a business whose leader is more visionary and is actually leading from the bottom up.
Okay.
Because it's still leadership.
Mhm.
But what they're doing is they're taking maybe their client's interest first, their employees second, and up the chain so that in reality, they're almost making everybody matter all the way up the chain. And that's how they're envisioning back. So how would you help somebody look at what the client wants? How do the employees want to do that? Talk to me.
Absolutely.
I think you understand what I'm
Yes.
saying. Okay.
And you mentioned it. It's what the client wants, right?
Correct.
But there's a caveat because what the client wants might not be necessarily what they need.
Okay.
So responsibility is to truly assess and tell this individual probably things that they don't want to hear. But that's your integrity, that's your responsibility. To build that leadership, they need to understand exactly what is it that they want. And then your responsibility as the coach, the mentor, or the consultant is to give them specifically what they need, not what you want to give them.
Oh, novel idea, isn't it? That a company actually listens to their clients and gives them what they need and not just what the client. I've got 7 of these machines, sell them.
That's specific. Now, what you described earlier is situational leadership.
Okay.
I'm going to go to see what my client needs, see what my employees need, see what I need. But everything is connected, right? There isn't one thing without the other. But what that person is doing is understanding the importance of leadership to develop the business effectiveness and productivity.
Now, you also talk on your blog, great blog, by the way, I love it, about innovation coming from those employees that you empower. So if you go through this situational leadership, you would be empowering your employees to bring up.
Absolutely.
Well, one of the things that's out there, and I think Mexico says it, that no matter what, sometime in each one of our lives, we are a leader ourselves.
Yes.
And it's a matter of being able to pull those leadership skills together and understand, especially in a working situation where, you have your boss and you have other staff. For me, optimal aspect in a working relationship is that each one of those individuals know that they are a leader in some aspect of the business. I want my staff, and I'm not there yet. I want my staff to be able to, at one point in time when I go, hey, we're doing this, tell me how we're going to do it. And just sit back and listen and do what they say. Because again, for each
and
one
Jill
of
go
us,
like this.
yeah, because none of us have the answers to everything. And so for me, when I'm looking at my staff, I'm looking, hey, when are you going to step up? And we're having this discussion this Friday is, hey, when are you guys going to step up? And I've told you we have money for training. I told you we have all these different divisions underneath our organization. Who's taking what? Because I don't want to run them all anymore.
But
and
see,
I can't run
but
them
you're
all.
the typical boss that believes that, has believed
Mhm.
because of whatever your employee scenario is, that you couldn't trust anybody
Correct.
but yourself to do it. You probably see that all the time. How do you get leaders to give up the control, or at least open their ears to the possibility that they can't go around putting their
Yep.
fingers in every hole in the dike?
So two things, and you mentioned about how an organization or a leader can promote that innovation. He mentioned three things already.
Okay.
He says asking questions, listening, and then you said relinquishing some of that perceived power. It's not true power; it's perceived power. But here's the other things too.
It's only perceived. Okay.
Here's the only thing too, though, is that diversity is important. So we have these things within,
Mm-hmm.
untapped to a realm of endless possibilities that unfortunately, under the wrong environment, they don't continue. But if you make a commitment and you use intentional thinking and you realize that becoming innovative is not just a luxury but a necessity, you start to realize that you have individuals that are working for you that might be smarter than you, and that's what you want. And you want to have no limits. You want to have parameters, but no limits. And you want to empower them. And here's one thing that I've noticed that a lot of the business owners with teams, they're very guarded against. They do not want their employees to make mistakes. So they find in themselves micromanaging. And when you micromanage, guess what?
You're
There's no
stuck-
creativity.
There's no creativity. You're holding people
Absolutely.
back. You're putting more time on. You're constraining your
Yes.
company from growth.
Yes.
Yep.
Now think about are those things that we just mentioned difficult to do? They're not. The problem is that they don't know.
Which brings me to a point. You do go in and do quite a bit of team development,
Yes.
and you include do you demand, do you require that leadership be part of this team development? I mean, because I go in, okay, if Robert would say, I'd like all the people that work for me to be, develop that and you do this with them. Would you say, I need you there? And the only way I do it is if you're there too?
Yes. But it will not demand,
Okay.
but it will be an agreement.
Okay.
Do you want this to work?
I guess
Yeah.
Because if you do, then this is what I would require from you. Are you committed to that?
Okay.
And then I have very specific strategy session
Mhm.
that allows the opportunity to explore because he's the expert on the business. I'm not.
Okay.
He is. So he knows exactly what he needs to do, but he needs to find where his commitment is. Does he realize or does she realize that the person that he or she believes might be in need of leadership could be him or her first?
Like you said, see inward first.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So that's part of the agreements. Absolutely.
So you have programs available, and if people are interested in developing their teams or leadership within first,
Yes.
and then bringing that all together,
Absolutely.
you'd be
we
the
do.
person that they could call to talk
Well, there's a
about
lot of
that.
other coaches there,
I understand
but
that.
yes, they could call me. Yes,
And it's based
absolutely.
on their needs and the goals that they
it always
have.
is.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. My last question to you, and I didn't quite understand it. You said that I read your blog and the other day, and you said success in 2019, and you talked about the 2080 rule. Can you talk to our listeners about the 2080 rule?
It's actually the 80-20,
80-20
but
rule.
I use it as the 2080, and I'm going to tell you why. So this is really it's based on the Pareto law,
Mhm.
right? Principle. And what it is that 80% of your results are based on 20% of the activities that you do. So it really is about prioritizing. Think about those things that are you have through a self realization come across and determine these four activities have yielded 80% of my results. However, I invested 80% of my time on other things that are nothing to do with those 20% of those activities. So where will my time be better invested? On those 20. So if I'm now intentional living and I'm utilizing intentional thinking, I'm gonna go back and determine what has worked. And if I get 80% of this 20% that what will happen if I invest intentionally 50% of my time on this 20 on this activity?
So if we go back to your blogging aspect, and you're finding nothing going on there and you still want to do a blog, finding an easier way to do your blog and taking so it cuts down on the time so you can do what you do best, networking with other people. Maybe that's where all your business is coming from. You know, a lot of times in today's age, businesses jump on bandwagons that everybody else has. You know, for some businesses, I think Facebook is a great place to be. For other businesses, I'm like, why are you even bothering there? Why are you on LinkedIn or why are you on Instagram? You shouldn't be on any of them. And you have to analyze it and go, hey, where's my time coming from? I know for me, I get a better result now at the chamber from doing my mastermind groups and having leads groups. And that's why I put so much emphasis in doing that compared to doing events all the time that are, hey, let's have a party and let's throw a party food. That doesn't do
Like you
anything
said,
for my members.
intentional. It's intentional.
It's
Giving them a
intentional.
value back. And that's why I work for big corporate companies, AT&T, TSYS, large companies, thousands of employees. And I noticed that it was always top down. We bought X amount of phones. We need to get them sold. That was the mandate. Did they work for every client? No. What was the major part of my clients? Military and DOD, which they couldn't use pictures. And so what I'm saying is they didn't listen. We would say, well, we can't sell these. Oh, yes, you can. Just keep.
Yeah.
And I think that they lose sight of like what he says, you know, if you're not listening to what really has made you money, then you're right. So the 20% makes you 80%. So you need to focus at least 50% of your time on that 20%.
You said it right. Go ahead.
Stephanie knows stuff inside out, and she sits and walks you through and trains you on every piece. Not that you have better equipment. It's not that you have a better service altogether. What people buy from great salespeople is the person.
Yes.
And that's the education that you bring with it. So if I'm looking at you, I would be saying, hey, you need to be doing more talking to your
Absolutely.
customers to get that message out and let them keep on speaking
On
how
my
great
behalf.
on your behalf. Instead of doing the blog, I think you still should do the
Maybe.
blog.
That's the
'Cause I
80-20.
think that's educational, but maybe not so many as you're probably doing right now. And
Maybe
watching.
directionally sending those blog items to actual current
Mhm.
customers that might
Or-
help them.
Or taking those blogs and actually printing them up and just repurposing them and saying, hey, this is the new thing that's going on. Instead of just let it sit on your website, take it and make it a marketing piece that you can hand out saying, hey, this is something new that you should know.
Huh.
Yep. Something
All right.
of that nature.
Well, Robert, thank you for giving me that. I am going to take that to the bank. Edwin, thank you very much. Edwin, would you please give our listeners a final minute here, how they can reach you, your phone number, email, and website?
Absolutely, I can do that. So I can be reached by a 1-800 number. It's 800-810-3268 or via email at info@fearlesscoachinggroup.com, or you can go to my website, fearlesscoachinggroup.com.
Edwin, thank you so much. This has been really a pleasure having you here. I know we jumped all over, but I really actually got through most of the questions I wanted to. If there's anything more that you want from Edwin, please reach out to him. He's a great guy, very gracious, and I know that he'll help you. Robert, why don't you close us up?
Hey, you've been here with the Entrepreneur Hour with Stephanie Cates and Robert Goltz. We will see you next week. Bright-eyed and bushy-tailed in
That's
the
right.
morning, not in the afternoon. So we'll start doing that. And also just remember to keep things intentional as you're going out there this week.
Thank you. Hey, Juan, you did it.
Good job, Juan.
Juan.